Hello everyone, welcome back to Yappy Channel. Today I want to talk about one of Israel's most successful military operations, Operation Entebbe. This operation was led by Yonatan Netanyahu, the brother of Israel's current Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. It was also the mission that successfully rescued 102 hostages held by Palestinian terrorists. So let's start with the hijacking that led to this operation. The hijacking happened on June 27, 1976, when Palestinian terrorists took over Air France Flight 139, which was traveling from Tel Aviv, Israel, to Paris, France. The plane had 248 passengers and 12 crew members, many of whom were Israeli citizens. Among the passengers were 4 terrorists, 2 from the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, and 2 Germans from the revolutionary cells. They boarded the plane during a stopover in Athens, Greece, before it continued to Paris. Not long after leaving Athens, the 4 terrorists pulled out their weapons and began the hijacking. They forced the plane to head toward Entebbe Airport in Uganda. Since there wasn't enough fuel to reach Entebbe, they stopped in Benghazi, Libya, to refuel. 7 hours and 45 minutes after the hijacking, the plane landed at Entebbe Airport in Uganda. Over 100 Ugandan soldiers were waiting at the airport and collaborated with the hijackers. At that time, Uganda was ruled by Idi Amin, who had seized power. He allowed the hijackers to operate there to boost his reputation and gain attention from the international community, as well as to secure support from Arab nations. Shortly after arriving at Entebbe, the hijackers demanded $5 million and the release of Palestinian militant prisoners held in 5 countries. They announced through international media that their demands must be met by July 1st at 2 p.m. By midday, they separated the Jewish and Israeli passengers from the others. Meanwhile, in Israel, government officials held meetings to discuss whether to comply with the demands. They also urgently contacted other countries for assistance. The Egyptian government and the Palestinian Liberation Organization tried to negotiate, but the hijackers refused to meet. On June 30th, they released 47 non-Israeli hostages, but 94 Israelis, Jews, and the 12 crew members remained captive. Through the released hostages, Israeli intelligence officers gathered information about the number of hijackers, their weapons, and their routines. They also obtained the airport's building layout from the company that constructed it. Initially, the hijackers set a deadline of July 1st, but after further negotiations, they extended it to July 4th. During this time, the Israeli government debated their options and ultimately decided not to meet the demands, choosing instead to rescue the hostages. However, the Israeli Defense Forces faced 2 major challenges in executing the rescue mission. First, they needed an airport in East Africa for the operation. Second, their planes had limited fuel capacity. To address this, they requested permission from Kenya's President Jomo Kenyatta to use Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and he granted it. They also obtained detailed information about the Entebbe Airport building from the Israeli construction company involved in its development and began training for the operation. The operation was divided into 3 teams: the ground team, the support and communications team, and the assault team led by Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu. On July 3rd, Israel launched Operation Thunderbolt, later renamed Operation Entebbe in honor of Yonatan Netanyahu. All 4 C-130 planes involved flew at under 100 feet above the Red Sea to avoid detection. They did this to prevent Egypt, Sudan, or Saudi Arabia's radars from picking them up, which could alert the hijackers. After a few hours, they reached Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, Kenya. There they refueled, and all but the medical support plane continued to Entebbe. On July 3rd, around 11 p.m., they successfully landed near Entebbe Airport without the terrorists noticing. Using a black Mercedes-Benz and 2 Land Rovers designed to resemble vehicles used by Ugandan officials, Colonel Netanyahu and his 29 commandos slowly approached the airport. When they reached the airport gate, 2 guards began inspecting them. The commandos shot them with silenced pistols, but 1 guard survived and fired back, alerting the terrorists inside. To prevent the terrorists from preparing, the commandos quickly stormed the building, eliminating the terrorists and Ugandan soldiers. After clearing the terrorists from the building, they quickly escorted the hostages to the exit and onto the waiting C-130 planes, which flew them to Nairobi, Kenya. There, nurses on the medical support plane immediately treated the injured. In this operation, 7 terrorists and 45 Ugandan soldiers were killed. The Israeli forces also destroyed 11 MiG-17 and MiG-21 fighter jets at the airport to prevent pursuit. They successfully rescued 102 hostages and brought them back to Israel, but tragically, 4 hostages lost their lives. 3 were killed during the firefight, and 1, Dora Bloch, was killed at a hospital in Uganda. Dora Bloch had been taken to Kampala Hospital before the rescue due to a serious illness and was not at the airport during the operation. After the mission, Ugandan soldiers went to the hospital and killed her. On the Israeli side, 5 commandos were injured, and Colonel Yonatan Netanyahu was killed by a shot from the airport control tower during the operation. This 90-minute operation is recorded as one of the most successful in Israeli history, demonstrating their military capabilities to the world. Initially named Operation Entebbe, it was later renamed Operation Yonatan to honor Yonatan Netanyahu, who sacrificed his life to save over 100 people. That's the story of Operation Entebbe, one of Israel's most successful operations.